You know that friend? The one who says, I'll be there in 5 minutes but hasn't even left the house yet. They're watching one more YouTube video. Or maybe they live in a different time zone. Mentally. We all know someone like this. Someone who treats time as a suggestion rather than a rule. But here's the thing. There's a hidden psychology behind why some people are always late. And scientists say it's not just one reason. There are 6 completely different mindsets that make people chronically late. Some are funny, some are profound, and there's one type that most people never talk about, the one that might surprise you. Let's see which type you are. The first type, you'll definitely recognize this one. The first type, you'll definitely recognize this one. They truly believe they can do 10 things before leaving the house. Shower, breakfast, clean the room, walk the dog, reply to emails, then leave at 8. That's the plan. Reality? It's 8:10 and they're still choosing which socks match today's vibe. Maybe I should fold some clothes before I go. They're already late, and they decide to fold clothes. Psychologists call this time optimism, being overly optimistic about time. Their brain automatically removes all the boring time gaps, like traffic, like finding keys, like parking, like waiting for the elevator. Their brain only counts time for the main tasks. Everything else? The brain pretends it doesn't exist. A study from San Diego State University found that chronically late people typically underestimate the time needed by up to 40%. At least they think 10 minutes. Reality needs 14 minutes, each task off by a little, the whole day off by a lot. This is someone living in a parallel universe. A parallel universe where 10 minutes equals an hour, where traffic doesn't exist, where everything flows as smoothly as it does in their head. They don't mean to be late, they genuinely believe they'll make it. The problem is, that belief never matches reality. But the next type, they could be on time. Everything's ready, they just choose not to. This type is hilarious. Everything's ready. Shoes on, bag packed, keys in hand. They're standing at the door. Then they sit down, chill for a bit, because apparently leaving early is a crime. I don't want to arrive before everyone else. Being early is awkward. I standing there waiting like a fool. And the classic, heroes always appear last. They crave control and coolness. For them, being on time equals pressure. Being early equals feeling exposed, judged, like you're desperate. But arriving late, that's making an entrance. Not just an appearance, they don't arrive. They appear. This is a subtle power move. Their way of telling the world, I don't rush for anyone. A Harvard Business Review study even found that people who arrive late can be perceived as more powerful in some contexts because they signal that their time is valuable. But here's what no one talks about. Deep down, that coolness is sometimes armor. Armor against being vulnerable. Against being the one who arrives early, standing alone, pretending to be busy on their phone. They control timing, okay, because timing is the only thing they can control. The next type is the complete opposite. They don't choose to be late. They're stuck inside their own head. This next type is the complete opposite of the intentional one. They don't choose to be late. They're stuck inside their own head. What if I wear this shirt? What will people think? What if I forget something and look stupid? Their brain won't stop talking, and each question takes 30 seconds. Multiply by 20 questions, and they're late. Psychologists call this decision paralysis. It's not that they don't know what to choose, they're afraid of choosing wrong. Afraid of wearing the wrong outfit. Afraid of saying the wrong thing. Afraid of forgetting something important. And that fear, slows everything down. A Columbia University study found that people with overthinking tendencies take 2 to 3 times longer to make simple decisions. Not because they're slow, but because they're fighting 47 what-if scenarios in their head. Here's a scenario. Meeting starts at 9 o'clock. You walk in at 9:02. Just 2 minutes, but your boss gives you that look. Colleagues go silent. You feel like you've committed some serious crime, but no one knows. 30 minutes earlier, you changed clothes 3 times. Checked your email 5 times to make sure you didn't forget anything, and stood at the door for 2 minutes to calm down before stepping out. Those 2 minutes late weren't because you don't care. They represent 30 minutes of anxiety that no one sees. Lateness from anxiety, not arrogance. Either late not because they don't care, but because they care too much. The complete opposite of the overthinker. There's someone who knows they're late and is proud of it. Meeting at 7. They stroll in at 7:45. Coffee in hand and a smile like nothing happened. Relax, I live in my own time zone. They know they're late, and they have no intention of changing. Psychologists call this reactance, psychological resistance. It's the instinct to resist anything that feels like a rule. For them, punctuality equals submission. Being on time equals being controlled by someone or something. They don't want to be controlled by the clock. They want to own it. Research on psychological reactance shows that people with this tendency often feel their autonomy is threatened when someone sets a deadline. Natural response to the opposite. On the surface, this is confidence. I don't rush for anyone. But deep down, sometimes that rebellion is armor. Armor against letting anyone control their life. Armor against times they were forced in the past. Lateness becomes rebellion disguised as confidence. And sometimes, it's the only way they feel powerful in a world full of rules. And then there's someone with the best heart, the worst calendar. They don't want to be late. They just can't say no. And then there's someone with the best heart, the worst calendar. Help you clean the house? Okay. Bake for the event? Sure. Reply to the boss's email? Absolutely. Feed the cat, fix the printer, pick up the kids? All before noon. They say yes to everyone and end up late for everything. Psychologists call this a combination of people-pleasing and guilt avoidance. They fear disappointing others. They fear the guilt of saying no, so they keep saying yes, believing that somehow they'll handle it all. A Journal of Personality study found that people-pleasers typically underestimate the time needed for each task by up to 25% because they focus on pleasing others rather than the reality of their calendar. Their brain literally doesn't calculate correctly because it's busy with something else, not letting anyone down. Here's a truth no one talks about. Time doesn't stretch just because you're nice. You can have the biggest heart, the best intentions, but a day still only has 24 hours, and if you promise 30 hours worth of work, you'll be late. Guaranteed. They're not bad at managing time. They're just bad at saying no. And sometimes saying no to others is the only way to say yes to yourself. But there's a sixth type, the type most people don't talk about, and maybe this is really you. This type is different. It's not personality, it's not choice. This is about life. This is someone living in a world that demands 25 hours from a day that only has 24. Psychologists call this temporal overwhelm, when life's demands exceed time's capacity. Imagine this scenario, 7 a.m. The alarm has gone off 3 times. You get up. Coffee spills on your shirt. Can't find your keys. Laptop didn't charge. You run out the door with one shoe untied. When you get to work, you're 10 minutes late. Now someone says, "Why didn't you wake up earlier?" They don't know you've been up since 5:30. Or another scenario. You just meant to quickly check email before leaving. One email to reply to forward to another urgent email to 40 minutes later. You're still sitting there, late for the meeting, and stressed because you know you'll be judged. An American Psychological Association study found that 67% of adults report feeling like there's not enough time in the day. Not because they manage poorly, but because modern life literally demands too much. This is what I want you to hear. You're not someone who's always late. You're someone trying to carry too much in one day. This isn't a personal flaw. This is a normal human response to modern life. Being 5 minutes late doesn't define your worth. What you're carrying does. And if you're carrying the whole world on your shoulders, then being 5 minutes late isn't failure. It's a miracle that you showed up at all. So, what does all this mean? So, what does all this mean? 6 types. 6 different reasons. But there's one thread running through all of them. How you relate to time doesn't reveal whether you're responsible or not. It reveals the level of overwhelm you're enduring. People who are always late aren't bad at time. They're living in a world that demands too much. An American Time Use survey study found that the average adult feels they're missing about 1 to 2 hours each day to complete what they need to do. This isn't personal failure, this is systemic reality. But here's what matters. This isn't an excuse to keep being late. This is self-awareness. Understanding why is the first step to change. You can't fix what you don't understand, and now you understand. So who are you? 6 types. Each person has a reason. Each reason has a story. Type 1. The dreamer, living in a parallel universe where 10 minutes equals an hour. Type 2. The intentional, chooses to be late because they don't want to arrive early. Type 3. The overthinker, late because they care too much. Type 4. The rebel, lateness is rebellion disguised as confidence. Type 5. The overloader, good heart, bad calendar, bad at saying no. Type 6. The overwhelmed. It's not personality, it's an overloaded life. Which type are you? Or a dangerous mix of all of them? And if you don't fit into these 6 types, what's your type 7? Let me know in the comments. But there's one last thing, and this is what I want you to remember. 6 types, 6 different reasons. But there's one thread running through all of them. You're not someone who's always late. You're someone trying to carry too much in a world that demands 25 hours from a day that only has 24. Being 5 minutes late doesn't define you. What you're carrying defines you. And if you're carrying the whole world, then being 5 minutes late isn't failure. It's a miracle that you showed up at all. If this video made you think differently about time, hit like if you saw yourself in one of these 6 types. Subscribe if you want to understand more about the psychology behind normal things. And comment to let me know. Which type are you? Or do you have a type 7 I didn't mention? See you in the next video.